Okay, it's Technical Sergeant Tad Fogalas, and I work with Colonel Cliff Serene in the Men in Black. We're having a lot of people wonder about, exactly how advanced are the Men in Black? And the answer is we cannot tell you because all of the people who are in Men in Black are not available for us to interview. We don't want to tell you too much about anything to do with us other than we're real. And our job is to deal with situations that are supernatural. Why? Because certain alien species, certain extraterrestrials, have things like telekinesis and telepathy. Their species naturally has these things we consider supernatural. Could you imagine a whole planet of people who had these things? So we just, we're the ones tasked with dealing with this. Now, what if there are people from planet Earth that have supernatural powers? Yes. Yes, we would also be involved in monitoring them as much as we were aware and able to. So, what about, like, if someone reported, like, a chupacabra, which is some kind of a supernatural demon that's thought to be like a Mexican folk tale. And someone reports that. Would we look into it? No. We don't investigate cattle mutilations or chupacabra. We don't investigate Merlin and the Knights of the Round Table. We don't investigate fictional things like Spider-Man. No. If you say I saw Spider-Man, we're going to say, hey, well, someone went to the Halloween store and got their costume. Then if you see Spider-Man like actually going up and down the streets of New York City on like cables or something, would we investigate that? You betcha. In other words, it has to cross the line into well, it's going to be more and more difficult because as people get more and more advanced computer software, they can make incredibly good fakes, and send us a video of a fake Spider-Man, and it becomes more and more difficult. So we have to have technologies to assist us. So like in Star Trek, they had the tricorder device. They brought it with them on all their away missions to different planets. A technical device that's handheld, and it can go and scan using different radio frequencies, different sidebands, different things it could scan for. Anyways, different technologies, and that's the kind of things that I use. I use stuff that is not exactly available at yes, sometimes the best products for scanning for these weird things are actually things you could buy at we're very handy, and generally speaking, like there are things you can buy on the internet for checking for ghosts. And there's a show called like Ghost Hunters where they've got these equipments like infrared, amplification devices, these kind of things. Could these be used for checking for extraterrestrials? Possibly. But you've seen those things, and those things certainly appear to be working as well as your smartphone. So you're going to have to go with when I tell you, we have these machines that can check for hidden things that we use in our Men in Black duties. Are we considered like psi, PSI, not pounds per square inch, psi? This is like in Star Trek, the original series, one of the very first episodes, they showed that everybody who was on the Starship Enterprise had been tested by the psychology lab to see how good their different things were. They measured things like, I don't know, you can look at this episode, but they gave everybody a rating. Maybe I should have said psychic. They called it psi in Star Trek, but psychic might be what we would call it, more common English name. So to be in the Men in Black, do you have to be kind of a psychic person? Yes. You have to be in search of other reasons. Just because. If people aren't psychic, could you use them in Men in Black? No. Why? Because it would be like dragging around an anchor. If you had what if they were your boss and, well, this becomes more difficult. How do you know if someone opposing you has got psychic abilities or they're simulating it using a technology? I don't know. Arthur C. Clarke, the science advisor for Planet Earth, said that sufficiently advanced technology and magic are indistinguishable. In any event, I wanted to give you some information about Men in Black, and I want to tell you that if you're a woman in black, you're still part of us. I'm going to continually remind you that as you come to see that I don't really need no one to help me out, is usually the kind of thing that Colonel Serene occasionally says. He usually complains that we want more resources because we could always use more of us. And the reason is simply because if you look at the number of stars at night, go someplace away from the city, out to a farmer's field somewhere, and you look up at the stars, and you see the number of stars that potentially have habitable planets. And you know that there's on the computer you can go and see how much you can blow this up, and there's compared to the number of stars you can see, the actual number of stars is far more. And you put the numbers together and you realize there's more extraterrestrials than there are terrestrial humans. So if there's so many more of them and comparably so few of us, we have an impossible task. So if you want to be an associate of our Men in Black department, don't apply at any government, because we don't work for any particular government. We are based here on no, some of us travel to other extraterrestrial and other dimensional places, but we consider ourselves pretty much guardians of planet Earth, or stewards of planet Earth. And we're trying to figure out, I guess, a mission statement, and pretty much our mission statement is we don't want people to hurt planet Earth. And as far as people hurting other people and we basically are not environmentalists, believe it or not. It's not our thing. Why? Well, generally speaking, if you already know that if people are cutting down old growth forests, that's an evil, horrible thing. You know that. So we're not involved with these things because you people are already involved in that stuff. And what else can I be? I'm just another dude standing there. Is cutting down old growth forest demonic? Yes, it is. So if there are corporations that are cutting these trees down, they're demonic. Does that mean? It means that you're in a warfare situation with the demonic corporations that are cutting down old growth trees. So do you have to fight fair? No. No, you don't. In other words, if your country is passing laws saying that you can't oppose demonic corporations cutting down old growth forests, you can say that government is illegitimate. It is not for what we know is good. Therefore, it is a servant of demonic corporations, and therefore it is demonic. And I present it to you, as a man in black kind of person, that we have got enormous problems on planet Earth because of all of this shit. This legal shit on planet Earth. It is total shit. It protects demonics. Our legal systems. Our legal systems are not out to protect the innocent. They are out to make sure the demonics have free reign on planet Earth. And that demonics can cut down old growth forest. And demonics can herd you like sheep. And demonics can basically ruin life on planet Earth. And so we don't work for any particular jurisdiction. And as far as Colonel Cliff Serene goes, Colonel Cliff Serene is not a U.S. colonel. Colonel Cliff Serene, in fact, is a pseudonym. Because, we don't use our real people on camera. So when I say I'm Sergeant Fogalas, I'm not Sergeant Fogalas. But for the time being, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be the stand-in for Sergeant Fogalas. In search of any more questions, I want to remind you that if you are in what we are calling a battle zone, you pretty much are not going to see supernatural things happening, because there is nothing happening supernaturally. Everything that is happening without your instructions being delivered to you. You are being guided through what we are calling lots of unusual events. So today, when I look up at the sun, this looks to be a forest fire sky. And currently we have these reports that there are lots of fires in the western United States. So we're going to say that this is an indication that that is being directed by a Hollywood production. Because we've already heard through the grapevine that forest fires in California are pretty much a regular thing. It's a hot, dry climate. It's an enormous land area. It has lots of trees. And pretty much, we are going to have to figure out that in those kind of conditions and Santa Ana drying winds, that you're going to have tinder dry wood. And if you put tinder dry wood into a fireplace, it burns real good. Is there more forest fires this year than not? I don't know. We have had in past years some forest fires that were closer to us that have giving the sky this look. Can forest fire smoke travel? Yes, it can travel very long distances. Half a continent. Well, you'd have to keep it all well concentrated when you blew it in a certain direction. In any event, let's just go with, I seem to get evidence that this is a... Why do I think it's not just like cloud or fog? It's just the color of it. It just seems more smoggy, like what they reported they saw in Los Angeles in the 1960s. They called it smog. Thank you for watching. I'm your narrator, Harry Weaver, and we were just talking with Technical Sergeant Tad Fogalas.